Hello folks, we are starting things off here hot with Waxing On with RJ, Rich Jackson, the master chef at work here, while he drinks a customary beer.
Yeah, there's going to be lots of those in these videos.
Hell yeah. How's it going, sir?
Going good.
So we wanted to definitely hand off the ATI Podcast baton to Ridge, and this is kind of something that we knew Ridge was in Ridge's wheelhouse and wanted him to curate and kind of add some content, but have his own independence to do things here. So, and we're going to go today. We had a very special edition with 2 selections, which we'll get into here in a moment. Let's talk about the idea of Waxing On, RJ, if somebody's just seeing this for the first time, kind of what the intent is.
Yeah, I mean, the intent is basically just exposing people to new music that they wouldn't even know about. Also trying to, help people into getting back into physical forms of music, because physical forms of music is amazing, and streaming is killing all of that joy. Just getting a record, getting a tape, getting a CD, and just opening it up, and it's just an experience. It's awesome. I think it's awesome. A lot of people probably don't care. It's whatever. But basically just bring light to that, and just the different sounds, the analog sounds,
right?
Compared to streaming it and things like that. Nobody, maybe a few people will start buying physical media, but a lot of people are just going to stick to streaming.
Sure.
Cheap.
Convenient.
You can discover so much stuff, but I just feel like it's lost. You listen to an album, you put it on, and unless you want to get up and change the song or fast forward it,
right,
pain in the ass, you're just going to sit there and listen to it all, and you're just going to enjoy all of it, what the artist put into it. And that's something that I've made myself do for the past 2 years, is just really listen to a whole album.
Yeah,
because that's how they wrote it. That's the way you're supposed to listen to it. I mean, some people don't. I understand that.
right.
And I still do. I get on Spotify and listen to all the different kinds of playlists and different things like that.
Sure.
That are curated for me.
Right.
But that's just another way of just finding other more
definitely
things like that. But
I hearken it back in the day. We used to be avid comic collectors. It's something we did in our extreme youth, but then we got back into our late teenage years, and we were kind of enamored with the ritual of it, going into the store, touching the comics, looking at the artwork, picking out what we liked. The same thing translates to music. Comics have even went digital too. Yeah, there you go. V for Vendetta.
I'm just getting back into that.
But, the same things happen with music too. And people don't make the same amount of money, as far as the artists are concerned, whenever you start talking about these streaming services,
Mm-hmm.
Spotify is a necessary evil, but people make pennies, they just make scraps, as far as the artists are concerned, but you have to be on there to get people to listen to you, to get people to discover you, to be on those Discover
Right.
Weekly playlists or whatever the case is. So, it's just, it's a part of the game, and you just got to play it.
You got to also to put your record out there also.
Sure.
I mean, you got to throw your single out on something.
It's a marketing vehicle.
I'm a lot of I'll be focusing mostly on just the underground kind
Right.
of metal scene, death metal scene, but also when I get a good album that's not heavy, I'll put that on there or whatever.
Sure.
But most people aren't going to go straight to Bandcamp to listen to that. They want it on Spotify or Apple and stuff
Right.
like that. So I mean, you got to utilize those, but
Absolutely. And as we've talked about on the ATI podcast, Bandcamp is one of the more better, digital platforms for bands, because not only can you just listen to their music there, but you can purchase directly from the artist. You can purchase merch, so on and so forth. So Bandcamp is always an avenue that we try to encourage people to go towards. So let's talk about the first band that you have on the list this week, Ridge. Is that going to be Tomb Sentinel?
It's going to be Tomb Sentinel.
Yeah.
This is Tomb Sentinel. This is Tomb Sentinel Perpetual Vice.
There you go.
It's the first time we're losing shit. I've got the Cardinals game on, so I should probably turn that off, but I don't want to. It's like one-run lead. It's put out in Life After Death Records. Clear red tape.
Okay.
Blah. Nobody. I think this stuff's really cool, but
yeah,
a lot of people probably don't give two shits, but I don't know. I think it's cool.
So you've been jamming that one on tape specifically?
Yeah. This came out April 22nd, 2022. I just got this maybe 2 weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So it was 2 weeks ago. The first time I listened to it, I played it like 4 times in a row. It was that good.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, they label it, they're like an Ohio death metal band. They label it as just pretty much like death metal, but to me, it's just like straight up in your face. It's not doing anything new. It's aggressive, hardcore with like death metal undertones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion on it, but it is dope. I mean, the one thing I will say is that actually on tape it sounds better than it does
digitally
on Spotify, Bandcamp, anything like that, like digitally, which is just another analog
right
type thing. But I mean, like the J card's pretty cool, artwork's really awesome. Like,
that's another thing too that folks don't get a chance to often if they're streaming stuff, is to get into the artwork aspect of things.
Also, if you really want to check out some dope ass like records, CDs, tapes, Eric over at Life After Death rules, and he puts out just like constant stuff. Like he just got like a big shipment of like Ukrainian black metal that he's selling.
Hell yeah, dude.
So that's like pretty fucking sweet. And I don't know if there's like a proceed thing going on, but it'd be cool. But like first time I actually heard about these guys, they came up, I'm trying to think, either like a story or it came up on Spotify, and it was a song called Cop Compost. And I was just like, oh hell yeah, that's what I want. Like that just drew me in. Like it was just like everything going on, like how shitty the world is.
Yeah.
Like that's sweet. But it's just, I mean, they deliver it just with like gut punching breakdowns, like the distortion's just like the straight up like Swedish like chainsaw like distortion and stuff like that. But I mean, I would say it's like if you're wanting to get into like Tomb Sentinel, it's kind of similar around like bands like Gatecreeper, Harm's Way, Genocide Pact,
okay,
or even like Terminal Nation, like hardcore bands that are like infusing death metal into their sound.
How did you come to find out about Tomb Sentinel specifically?
It was off that Spotify thing. Like I was just like Cop Compost, and I was just like, oh hell yeah. And then like Life After Death had been like hinting or like releasing like teasers to the Tomb Sentinel record, and I think I believe the first single was released like a year, like in 2021 or something like that. And it took like so long for the tape to come out, and it's only like a 4-track tape. I mean, the first track, Fated, Fatality, Cop Compost, Perpetual Vice, and then Sway Trick or Homicide. I mean, that's all it was. they released like 2 singles, and then you had to wait like a year to get the tape or something like that.
Well, it sounds like it was worth the wait, considering you've been running it nonstop for 2 weeks, essentially.
Yeah, I've been listening to this a lot. It's good.
And that's another thing with tape, and we've talked about it on the ATI podcast, is that's another analog experience. And, Pam and I were having some discussions with my wife today, and we were talking about analog music, how it just has an energy to it. Anytime you can get that experience, whether it's vinyl tape, that is as close to a live experience for me and listen to things digitally. Things are so compressed and studiofied, if you will, for kind of layman's terms, like people often identified. But it just takes a lot of the energy out of it, especially with bands like we're talking about today, like Tomb Sentinel. The energy is paramount in the music, to be felt, heard, and otherwise.
I feel like that's their. I mean, I don't know. I can't be in their head to find out like if they think they're doing something original, but I feel like it's more just like intensity based. Like it's just like it, just all the shit that's going on. Turn off everything in your head and get primitive. Like
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that for sure. So Tomb Sentinel, Ohio death metal.
Good old Ohio death metal. They've got a ton of bands in Ohio, like good death metal bands in Ohio.
It's that Ohio Valley, that deep depression that it puts you in.
Right? Like I don't like they had a fest in like Ohio, and I was like trying to figure out how to go to it. Like how can I get there? And then like gas prices went up to like $4 something, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to Ohio. Like I can't do it.
God, I've been having fantasies about road tripping out to see Cave In Louisville, Kentucky. I even Google mapped the trip. It's 5 hours. I was like, oh, I could get a hotel room. I think Author and Punisher's opening for him on that show. It's not one of the ones that Quicksand's opening for him, but yeah. If it had been one of the Quicksand one, it'd be great. Here it's like a week or two. It's like on a Friday. Yeah.
I was gonna say if this is like September, October, man, let's do it.
Dude, there's so much shit going on in September and October. We're going to see Nothing and Boris, of course.
Which is
I'm going to see Descendants, and then there's another show I'm forgetting
probably
about.
Gonna go on that one.
Yeah.
My brother gets a ticket.
Descendants is one of those bands that I've come to appreciate in my older years, especially watching kind of those Trash Theory videos that I've talked to you about in the past. And I didn't realize I get really fascinated with the history of bands, and then that makes me even more of a fan in many ways. So whenever I kind of saw the Trash Theory on Milo Goes to College, I was like, oh my god, man, why have I never listened to this band? Given them due diligence. But enough about the well-known bands like Descendants. We'll get back on waxing RJ here, and it's always a pleasure to wax you, by the way.
I'll let anyone wax me. I'll wax anyone. I don't care. But
what other band you got locked and loaded? Who we got next, Reach?
The next band it's not a new release. I mean, this was released in January 25th, 2021, and it's a band called I got this.
Fossilization.
Oh no, it's the iPad. That's what. Okay, all right. Never mind. Maybe if I take it out of the case, that'd be better. Okay, it's a band called Fossilization from. I'm gonna butcher this. Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's a 2-piece called Fossilization. Rules. The J card is some sick art. I don't know. Again, most people probably don't care. I think this stuff's cool, but it's just stuff that I'm listening to, and I want to tell people about it, and hopefully they will enjoy it also.
I wanted to make one other point while you were showing the artwork too. I think I've talked about this on the ATI podcast as well, but you're the person that introduced me to Converge, and Converge tattoo on their arm. Oh, here we go.
I got look to Kraken. Got 2 Converge.
Got that Converge on your Crocs?
I don't. I just have like a beer and a Batman and a suit.
We should make that happen though. Get a little Jane Doe and
Jane Doe Croc charms.
Yeah, there you go.
They're doing Undeath and Warforged Croc charms, which I still want to get.
What attracted me to Converge was, I think, this is how I remember it anyways. You had a laptop, and I walked up and I saw Jacob Bannon's artwork on the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, dude, what's this artwork on your computer? And you're like, oh, that's Jacob Bannon. And I was like, oh, and you're like, he's in Converge. And I was like, I got to check these fuckers out. Because I obviously, was an artist at one time, I guess, actual drawing and stuff. But you told me it was like a lot of graphic design type stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in part why you were doing graphic design stuff in school. And I was like, man, I've really got to check these guys out. So really what led me to Converge was the artwork. So I know as silly as that sounds sometimes, but that's what leads you to comic books too, to get it back to that conversation. Sometimes it just takes that thing initially that draws your attention to them.
Right. And it did.
And that's why I think it's important to show the media cards and stuff like you were.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like that's one thing that actually drew me into this band was I was just like was on Bandcamp, just scouring away, just trying to find some bands or whatever. And Transylvanian Records had this band on their page, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go and listen to this. And it was just like, I mean, like that artwork is just sick.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So I was just like, okay, this is cool. Like, I don't think this is just gonna be like a straight up death metal band or a doom band. Like, I feel like there's gonna be like some more like just bleak, dark shit. And listen to it, and it was just like straight doom death with just like bleak, dark parts, like no like horizon, like no like happy ending to it at
Right.
all. Just pummeling the whole time, just like tremolo picking the entire like album. Like it rules.
That's tough, man.
Like there is a transition between, I believe it's I'm trying to think which track. It's Blythe Cathedral and Caratone or I'm butchering this, but it's the second and third track on the album. But just there's like it's just like building and building and building, and it's just brutal. And then there's like a 5 second like silence, and then it goes into the next track. That's just like
there's
just
no resolution.
even harder. Yeah, it's just it rules.
I always get off on that.
So satisfying
When something doesn't resolve itself, it's just like it builds up tension or whatever the case is, and you're just like waiting for something to happen that never does.
Right. And this is it's just a 2-piece out of Sao Paulo, Brazil.
What's the instrumentation?
I mean, it's just guitar, bass, drums, vocals. They have a little bit of maybe like some keyboard or something in there, but that's pretty much it. They do a lot of I mean, because they're from Brazil, so they have a lot of like Brazilian kind of like tribal drumming in a couple tracks.
Okay.
That just like it adds to it. Like it makes it a fun listen. It rolls. I don't know. I would recommend this. It at the time when I was trying to find this tape, it took me forever because they're from Brazil. So they only made so many in Brazil. Like I found a couple places where I could actually buy it, but the money it wasn't working out. So eventually like Transylvanian Records like hooked them up, and they're on Transylvanian Records, and they did like a vinyl which sold out super fast, and I got the tape as soon as they put it up because I was just like, yeah, like I'm gonna be hawk watching this, and got it. And I'm so glad I got it.
Did you stumble upon these guys on a weekly playlist as well, or how'd you find out about these guys? Fossilization.
It was just I was just looking on Transylvanian Records, like
okay,
Bandcamp, and just seeing their artwork, and that like just drew me in. Like I was just like, this is gonna be cool. And yeah, and it was. It's one of the best. I mean, like if you like Primitive Man, it's gonna draw you into Primitive Man. Mortiferum. And then like I just don't know. It's just chaos-driven death doom.
Hell yeah!
It's got a little bit. I mean, like I wouldn't say like Sepultura, but just kind of like those like Brazilian vibes from Sepultura.
Okay.
Just that. Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. But I don't know. It rules.
So you're jamming both on tape, right?
Oh yeah, always in.
So that's the medium for this episode for sure.
Yeah, we'll get better. I'll get better at this as we go on.
It's all good, brother. Hey, it's just two dudes having a chat about music. Can't go wrong.
Everybody should have seen our like hour-long stint of showing each other our records. If anybody wants to see that, maybe we can do like a...
Yeah, we could maybe do a longer... or just go live on Twitch or Instagram Live, and we can just start sharing shit back and forth. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this.
We do like OnlyFans, and we can show our feet while we do it.
Oh, yeah. Get a Patreon going, make a little extra cash. I ain't too proud to show some feet for a little cash, if anybody's out there listening.
Everybody could use it right now.
I got a sick hammer toe if you're into that.
You got a what?
I got some sick hammer toes if you're into that.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had a extra toe.
Oh
How
no.
did I not know this?
No, dude. If I did, that'd be well known and well publicized. I'd be exploiting the shit out of it.
Right.
Feel sorry for me. Look at my extra toe.
But I'm gonna be doing this weekly. I will try. I'm really shitty at doing anything because I'm a dad and got kids, and I don't know how you do it, Barrett. You're a fucking superhero.
We all know the struggle, my man. It's a
I'll be
balancing
good.
act.
This will be hopping on. They won't be super long or anything. It'll just
Well, this is kind of the first one in this format. It was worth taking the extra time to get people to get a better idea of what's going on, and may not always be two selections too. From my understanding, going forward, you might just have one, but and there might be a little vinyl mixed in or this or that, and now too with a lot of the delays in manufacturing things like that, that might impact maybe some of your selections too. I would think, but solid picks, my man. You sent me the links last night, and I enjoyed what I heard. I plan to do a deeper dive on both of them myself, but check out Tomb Sentinel and Fossilization, and we're gonna put some links up too for everybody to go down the rabbit hole.
Oh, I'll have Bandcamp links, like just going. I mean, like half of the tapes have went up now, but back in the day it was like $5 a piece, like, which is stupid cheap,
right,
for music, and the bands are still profiting a ton off of this, and you're actually helping people most of the time.
And that's really the important thing we want to lean into too, is this physical media, purchasing this stuff. If you like what you hear, what's sending $8 for a tape? I'd say they pretty much range between $8 and $12 in most cases, but
Yeah.
a one-time purchase if you liked it enough, and the band usually makes about a 50% markup on stuff like that, depending on who they go through manufacturing wise. So, it's something to put in their pocket, especially hard times and certain times like this. Any way we can help each other and help people pursue their passions and so on, like that's kind of the spirit of this too, is to bring a light to those, kind of bring a voice to the voiceless perhaps, but let people know about people that have not been heard or seen, maybe that do deserve that 15 minutes of fame or that spotlight in the sun, if you will.
Right. Like I'm nobody. I don't have any connections. I'm just some dude from St. Francis County. But if I can get like a couple people like your band, I feel pretty proud about that.
Hell yeah.
And just like, it's a hobby. It's a hobby I enjoy, and I want to expose and maybe think more people will enjoy this hobby.
I mean, back whenever we were in our heyday playing, I would have loved anybody taking 3 minutes to talk about our band, even if it was,
yeah.
regardless of what the medium was.
Yeah, that shit was hard to come by. I mean, like we had a couple like compilations and stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to, before we, cut off of here, give a little preview for next week's. Hopefully, I have the other format in, because it's a long story. I'll talk about it in that episode, why I have two formats of the same release. But finally got the new Mall record in. If anybody knows me, has been fucking stoked to listen to this. And I've only heard 2 singles off this record. My brother was trying to get me to listen to it last night, and I was just like, nah, man, I want to wait until the record comes out. And then looked it up and seen it wasn't going to ship till the 21st. So I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm going to listen to the record. The tape was being held up in the mail and passed out. And then when I woke up this morning, this was on my doorstep. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is meant to be. I got to listen to that on first time listening to the whole album. I got to do it on vinyl. It was pretty cool.
Well, Mall was your first selection for Waxing on RJ as well.
It was.
And I also saw that you got a share from them, too.
Yeah.
On social media, on the actual Waxing on RJ.
They're super cool dudes. Like, they played in Springfield, and me and my brother was going to go, like, a long time ago. They had posted about it, and then, like, I forgot. And then when I seen, like, another post that they were coming to Springfield, I was like, oh, shit, like, we need to go. But I was going on vacation, so I couldn't make it. God damn it. Which would have been cool.
Well, we'll just have to make a trip down there.
Yeah. And then also, like, silly as they are, Body Box was playing in St. Louis when went on vacation. I was just like, damn it. 2 cool shows. But everybody just like support music as much as you can. If you can't,
Absolutely.
give them listens. Open your mind, listen to something new every day. I mean, I will go from death metal to Sufjan to Prince, David Bowie, like just all kinds of weird stuff.
For sure, man. Gotta open up your mind.
I can listen to like noise, just like hissing noise for a while. Like there's beauty in everything, and that's just kind of what I want to bring with all of this. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I'll try and keep it a little entertaining and stuff.
Yeah, show your asshole a little bit. That always goes over well.
No, that'll be like Patreon. You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, that's an up sub.
If you want to see those berries, you gotta pay for that.
Darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, my man. Yeah. And hey,
if anybody's wondering, the Cardinals are leading 5-3.
Hell yeah!
And 7.
Well, the motto of this show is going to be "Show me something real, like an ass with some stretch marks." So we're going to keep this train rolling from week to week.
Yep.
Any rub, which we're always talking about rubs and rubbing off, but any rub that the
waxing here.
Well, the ATI podcast is giving the rub to waxing RJ. See, it's right in the frame. I'm getting it right. There you go. So you go. He's getting the rub, so he can wax. See, that's the Karate Kid sequel that you guys never saw. All right, rub for the wax. All right. But I think it's been a successful episode, sir, and I'm so happy that you've turned us on to 2 new artists that I will personally be doing a deep dive more so into.
Seriously, check out Tomb Sentinel. Check out Fossilization. Like Fossilization, if you're gonna pick one, listen to that band. They're insane. Max Cavalera has been like going on and on about them, which if you don't know Max Cavalera, but
we can't help you.
Check him out. Like you really need to listen to that album from front to back. Like it's amazing, and they're gonna blow up. I think that's my prediction. But anyways, but yeah, enjoy. Like find something new, try something out. You never know.
Maybe you listen to some of the stuff that Ridge has recommended here too, and maybe it's worth reaching out, interacting with us on social media, and saying, "Hey, this band reminds me of this band." Maybe it's something we haven't heard of. So, hey, let's use this as an information exchange, if nothing else.
That's what we're doing here.
Hell yeah!
Just like bring people into the music, and then bring people into the ATI podcast, which rules. It's variety. Like there's so much different variety in the podcast that you can find different things in. Like if you don't agree on one podcast, like there's another one for you. But it's fun.
Well, you know my ADD. I can't do one thing for too long. So
that's right. Like yeah, I couldn't do one like straight. I would have trouble on that. Like you got to have some variety. It's fun. And even if it's even like on your episodes, like that's something that like I'm not interested in, it's still fun to listen to. And that's not just because I'm friends with you guys, but it's enjoyable.
We try to bring that childlike mindset to it, you know, and it's the curiosity.
Like I finally finished the new Heb episode when you guys were talking with Heb. That episode ruled. It was fun.
Not that I thought it would be bad, but yeah, it has some sneaky surprises in there, especially some of the punk bands he was talking about in St. Louis that were coming up.
Hell yeah! And then that Pink, the Pink Pit. I automatically went up and looked that up, and they like do wilds. It's like DJ sets and all different weird stuff.
I gotta see a set there. Or somebody
like, and it's like right off Cherokee or something. So I was just like, oh fuck, we need to go and check out a show there sometime.
Hell yeah, for sure. Yeah, that seems like a good time. So until next time, guys, this has been Waxing RJ with the man of the hour, Ridge Jackson, Barrett Lewis here, just to help pass, do that thing we talked about earlier.
pass
the baton / whack on.
It wouldn't be a torch because we're still all in
No, and it's giving you the rub, like I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There we go.
The ATI rub.
Well, I'll be in here. Follow the ATI podcast. Get on the community if you're on Facebook and stuff like that. That's where I'll be posting the videos to, or wherever. I don't know what the hell. We'll find it. We'll figure it.
If this is how you're finding out about Waxing on RJ is through the ATI podcast, we do have the Waxing on RJ Instagram account tagged on the ATI podcast Instagram account, but we will also be posting this stuff on our other social media feeds, Twitter, as well as Facebook. So
I'll be posting releases and stuff, different tapes I get in. Like, I'm not going to review everything that I get in, but I'm just like, I can post up some shit. If you guys want to see some cool vinyls, tapes, or whatever, or some dumb shit that I put up, like, go for it.
We're going to make it happen.
Most importantly, follow the ATI podcast and listen to every damn episode.
Well, thank you, sir, but this is about you. So we're going to sign off for Waxing on RJ. Thank you all for listening and watching.
Night, everybody.
This is Barrett from the ATI Podcast. Each week, Josh and I discuss current events, pop culture, music, TV, movies, politics, sports. Nothing is out of bounds. You can also tune in to learn about rising artists, small businesses. Whether it's music, graphic design, filmmaking, or even a brick-and-mortar mom-and-pop shop, we will be spotlighting folks and their endeavors. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Anchor, or anywhere you enjoy your podcasts. Just search ATI Podcast. We would like to thank you for your continued support, and as always, please stay safe out there.
Hey, this is Josh from ATI Podcast. For show updates and news about the podcast, follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ATI Podcast 22, on Twitter at podcast_ATI, on Instagram at the ATI Podcast, on TikTok at ATI Podcast. DMs are always welcome. Have a question for the show? You can always email us at atipodcastquestions@gmail.com. Stay safe out there.